So the hilariousness of this win for Oregon is only rivaled by its importance. So after literally the worst defensive performance in the history of Dana Altman coached Oregon basketball at home on Thursday, the Ducks came back and got a win against a Maryland team that I believe is ranked in the top 20 in the net. They're not in the top 25 AP poll, but Oregon improves to 13-2, 2-2 in Big Ten play. And this game did not start the way that Oregon fans were hoping. Because when the game began, following a 16 three-point effort, as in 16 made threes by Illinois on Thursday, Maryland comes out, wins the tip, and first play, they run a pretty simple screen dribble handoff, and the guy hits a three and didn't come close to hitting the rim. And I went, oh boy, here we go. Here we go again. And Maryland began the game 5 of 10 from beyond the arc. They had 2 starters that made 3 triples. This is now to the point where it is a problem. This is something that needs to be addressed. I trust Dana Altman to be able to figure such things out because remember, though Oregon has played some really good basketball at this point in the year, they tend to play their best basketball, whether they start slow and are fighting to make the tournament or start hot and are fighting to be a top 2 or 3 seed. They tend to play their best basketball in March. And defensively, the team looks lost, but they figured it out and found a way. 83-79 is the final. Oregon was favored by 4.5 points, and Maryland had a putback at the buzzer. I tell you what. I'm sorry if you were carrying an Oregon minus 4.5 ticket there. That's a tough one. But a couple reasons why this was great. Number one, the defense was noticeably better in the second half, and Oregon ended up out-rebounding Maryland. I wasn't sure that would happen after the first half, but perhaps most importantly, Jackson Shelstad was brilliant. He hit all 5 of his 3-point shots. They weren't leaving him open. He was creating his own shot, showing off the range. This was the Jackson Shelstad that we have been waiting to see. Now, it's just one game, but boy, do I hope that this is something that sticks with him. He looked confident. He was aggressive. There was no tentative nature to how he was putting up shots. He leads the way with 23 points, 8 of 10 shooting. All 5 of his 3-pointers went down, made both of his free throws. He also had 5 boards and 2 assists. Nate Biddle had 16 points as well on 6-10 shooting. He hit 2 threes. It is so refreshing to watch those guys who I know can shoot and you know can shoot hit threes. And it wasn't always pretty for him offensively in this game, but KJ Evans had another double-digit effort off the bench, and he has hit 3 of his last 5 triples. Now, that's not a huge sample size, but when you watch Oregon's offense over the course of the first couple months of the season, there were long stretches, quite frankly, where you didn't feel great about a 3-point shot unless it came from Keyshawn Barthelemy, who had a big shot late in this game and had 14 points off the bench, or Bam Tracy. Either one of those guys, they put up a 3, you felt, oh, that's a good shot. Shelstad, Biddle, Evans all struggled. If they get it going, this is what this team can be offensively. This was an athletic, long Maryland team, and Oregon still was able to put up 83 points. Now, and this was on a day where, again, Brandon Angel struggled offensively, and that's just not going to continue for the rest of the season, but that's why I have been high on this team. The depth they have is really good. Angel and Bamba neutralized. Those guys went 3 of 15 from the floor and 0 of 7 from beyond the arc, and Oregon won the game while making 12 threes. So that was all an incredibly good sign. And just taking a step back from the game itself, which I'll hop back into in a moment, Oregon needed the win so you avoid going 0-2 on your home floor in a week, which is never a good thing. But Oregon fans just needed to see a W go up somewhere because, man, Wednesday and Thursday, let's be real. I mean, it felt like getting kicked below the belt. Like, it stunk. It stunk because both games were just absolute blowouts by the end of it. So that was a great thing to see. But What is not great is that this team is still struggling defensively. Now, that's where Dana's teams over the years have tended to ratchet it up as the season goes along. But there's some real problems to fix. I mean, they've allowed 21 made threes in the last 2 games. And that now Illinois is one of the best teams in the Big Ten. Maryland looks like a solid team, but Big Ten regular season basketball is a gauntlet. They take a lot of flack for how they tend to perform in the NCAA tournament. But this is a league that's got Purdue's ranked inside the top 20, Michigan State ranked inside the top 20, Wisconsin was ranked until they lost recently, Washington is vastly improved, Ohio State is not a slouch. This is going to be a tough stretch. This is a really good conference. And you know, the Big Ten, of course, broke through in a way where Illinois made the Elite Eight last year. Purdue made it all the way to the national championship game, only to lose to UConn because UConn was just incredibly, incredibly good. But I am encouraged by what Oregon has offensively because they're continuing to sustain what they showed in the early portion of the season, which is they're not reliant on a couple guys. Shelstad can have an off day. Bartholomew will have a really good night. Bomba was off, and Dana Altman is doing a great job again of utilizing every player on the roster at the right time. You know, he came out in the second half. Oregon was down by 3. They led 45 points in the first half. And, I mean, he was heated at some moments during the game. I bet you in that halftime locker room, there was some screaming and a lot of words that cannot show up on Ducks versus them. So they come out in the second half, and they're better. 34 points, that's better. It's not great, but it is significantly improved from one half to the next. But he came out in the second half, Dana did, recognized that TJ Bamba wasn't feeling it, and he just started Keyshawn Bartholomew. And Bartholomew had a much better game in the second half than he did in the first. He's made those sorts of subs and twinks. I don't even know what that is. Tweaks and wrinkles. That's what twinks was. A combination of tweaks and wrinkles. Yeah. That's how my brain's going today. How about you? He has made all of those right moves far more often than not. So Oregon's 2 losses this year are a bad day at home against Illinois, a historically bad day when Illinois couldn't miss a shot, and a lucky banked-in 3 at the buzzer by UCLA. Those are the only games. So they'll probably drop a little in the AP poll. That's okay. They're 2-2 in conference play. But that they really needed that win. Because the other thing, too, is this game was on a Sunday. So you're going to sit with whatever happened until Thursday. And Oregon gets to sit with a win. And they get to sit with Jackson Shelstad gets to sit with a 23-point effort in which he makes a career-best 5 threes, which had been his biggest area of struggle so far this year. So incredibly encouraged, but still the defense has got to improve. I mean, got to improve. They're at Ohio State and at Penn State this week for their first Big Ten, true Big Ten road trip. So hopefully they keep it rolling, but they needed that. I think Oregon fans needed that as well. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and go Ducks.